For 5 years, I was paired with a poor campus beauty in a game. I carried her all the way from bronze to king. Then I left only one message. I was terminally ill. Don't miss me. And I faked my death. Years later, we met again on a gaming variety show. She had become a top-tier best actress. I was now just an obscure actor buried in scandals. I gave a sheepish smile. Looks like I found a revival armor. But the best actress stared at me coldly. A first love is better off dead. Yet when she later truly heard I had died from illness, the aloof, noble woman completely lost control. At the gaming show's recording set, I had created a smurf account to keep a low profile, but my agent secretly tampered with it and logged me straight into my main account. When the name Meng Mingyue appeared on the big screen, the livestream chat instantly exploded. Meng Mingyue? Isn't that best actress Bai's long-dead first love? Sunset Jianghu strictly bans account trading. So how did Fang Yuan get this account? Did he hook up with some game company backer and pull strings? Fang Yuan will do anything, just to chase clout. Can't wait to see him crash and burn. Everyone on set held their breath. Dead silence. Bai Ningbing slowly looked up at me. In those beautiful eyes was a bone-chilling cold. My hand trembled uncontrollably. My phone nearly slipped from my palm. I never imagined being exposed would happen in such an awkward way. The person I'd once missed was right before me, yet I couldn't even admit who I was. A male guest beside me, eager for drama. Fignette surprise. No way. Hey Yuan, you play this game too? And your rank is this high? Looks like we'll need you to carry us today. Right then. Bai Ningbing's gaze was like an ice-cold blade, fixed hard on me. The mockery and curses in the chat never stopped for a second. I stayed silent, wishing I could vanish on the spot. This game used to be my specialty, but whenever I thought of Bai Ningbing's icy stare, I completely lost my rhythm. After another misplay, my HP bar emptied instantly. My character collapsed on screen. Watching the dim figure wait to respawn, I couldn't help looking up at Bai Ningbing. Her eyes were lowered, long pale fingers tapping swiftly on the screen. Under her control, her character moved with incredible agility. Every attack was precise and ruthless, each strike lethal. With Bai Ningbing's final blow, the match was over. She casually set her phone on the table, speaking as coldly as to a stranger. Mr. Fang, if it isn't your account, don't force yourself to play it. My grip on the phone tightened. My knuckles turned white. Because I played so badly, the insults in chat grew even fiercer. She's always gentle and polite to everyone. With that attitude today, she's clearly furious. Unwilling to give up, I followed her. I kept my steps light and cautiously said, Miss Bai, could I have a few minutes to talk? Bai Ningbing lifted her eyes, her face frosty. Are we close? My chest felt pricked by countless needles, pain spreading through my whole body. I lowered my voice. About that account just now, Bai Ningbing cut me off mercilessly. Each were like a knife. If it's over, then stay dead for good. Instead of clinging to it and causing more trouble, my whole body froze. My steps stopped dead. So, she had recognized me long ago. I watched her walk away without looking back. My fist clenched tight. My nails dug deep into my palm, drawing blood without me noticing. Lucian appeared beside me at some point and asked softly, are you okay? I forced down the suffocating ache in my chest and demanded shakily, Lucian. I gave him my smurf account. Why did it log into my main? Lucian's eyes darted around. She stammered, unable to answer. My heart sank. I pressed her, my voice faintly trembling. Why'd you do this? I told you already. That account was absolutely off limits. Lucian looked apologetic and explained bitterly the company just thought your main account had a high rank and a well-known name. It could draw you more attention. Who knew Bai Ningbing would be today's mystery guest? This really backfired. She let out a heavy sigh, looking helpless. I closed my eyes, unable to say a word. I just felt cold all over. Suddenly, a commotion came from the entrance. Reporters who'd rushed over, and paparazzi had packed it solid. Bai Ningbing stood surrounded at the center. The reporters were like sharks, smelling blood, each one visibly excited, firing sharp questions nonstop. Best actress Bai. What do you think of Fang Yuan logging into Meng Mingyue's account? You and the owner of Meng Mingyue. Were you really an in-game couple? I stopped at the corner, watching Bai Ningbing's upright back. My heart clenched. The next second, her cool voice cut through the noisy crowd, clear and firm. No, it was just something I did when I was young and foolish. A bet, nothing more. Her words hit me like a hammer, slamming into my heart, until every organ seemed to ache. Night fell. I curled up in my tiny apartment. A steady rain fell outside, cold drops tapping the window, each sound grating. What Bai Ningbing had said had already caused an uproar online. People compared clips of my old gameplay with my performance on today's show, together with Bai Ningbing's cold attitude. In no time, both our names shot to the top of trending searches. Fang Yuan angers Bai Ningbing using Meng Mingyue's account. Bai Ningbing denies dating. Meng Mingyue says it was only a youthful bet. Fang Yuan humiliates himself. My phone kept buzzing. Countless messages flooded my DMs. Without exception, they were vicious curses and insults. That kind of abuse had followed me since my first day in entertainment. I thought I'd long since gotten used to it. But tonight, those words felt like poison-coated blades, each one stabbing straight into my heart, cutting me apart piece by piece. Because every insult contained the name that hurt me most. Bai Ningbing. I gripped my phone. The screen showed a post Bai Ningbing made years ago. It read, "The one I knew is gone." As I stared blankly at it, the post suddenly vanished. A huge wave of panic seized my heart. I backed out, then hurriedly opened her page again. Bai Ningbing had posted something new. There was never any first love. It was only a ridiculous game from our reckless youth. Just one short sentence, written so lightly, erased all 5 years of our past, denying it completely. Within only a few minutes, the post drew over 10,000 comments. The top like comment even attached a gameplay clip. I watched it. I seriously suspect Fang Yuan is Meng Mingyue. But Sister Ningbing only learned the truth today. Her untouchable first love is gone. She must be devastated. The two game character figurines by my bed still leaned closely against each other. They were a gift Bai Ningbing gave me years ago. Back then, Sunset Jianghu had just gone viral. The official store released its first limited figurines. She filmed all night, didn't even rest, then queued for hours at an offline shop. She mailed the figures to me immediately. Along with them came a voice message from Bai Ningbing. Her voice was unbelievably gentle, with a faint smile in it. "Mingyue, let's meet." Back then, I happily agreed. But in the end, I stood her up. Boom. A thunderclap suddenly exploded. Pale lightning tore across the night sky. Bai Ningbing's cold expression from earlier and her hurtful words surfaced clearly in my mind again. Then I suddenly realized something was wrong. She had never seen me in person. So how could she know that I was Meng Mingyue? At that thought, I clutched my phone tighter, stumbled out the door, and charged into the pouring rain. When I reached Bai Ningbing's villa, drenched through, almost all my strength was gone. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath of the cold, rain-soaked air. Nervously, I pressed the doorbell. After a long while, the heavy wooden door slowly opened. When Bai Ningbing saw me, her face instantly darkened. Her voice was icy. "Why are you here?" I didn't answer. From the first day I entered show business, I'd known her address. She once told me, when she finally made it big, she'd buy a home in the city's most expensive district, decorate it exactly the way I liked, and it would be our home. I suppressed the bitterness surging inside me, braced myself against the cold door, and asked in a shaking voice, "Bai Ningbing, when exactly did you find out that I was Meng Mingyue?" She stayed silent, only staring at me with eyes so cold. They held no warmth at all. That wordless silence somehow filled me with unease. I lowered my head, my voice hoarse and low. "That day I did go to meet you, but..." Bai Ningbing cut me off indifferently. Her tone was light, but final. "It doesn't matter." I protested anxiously, my voice almost breaking. "How can it not matter?" My dad suddenly, a clear male voice, suddenly came from behind her, cutting me off. "Ningbing, where did you put my pajamas?" I stared up blankly. The man standing behind Bai Ningbing also froze when he saw me, then smiled politely. "You have a guest. It's pouring outside. Why not let him come in and get out of the rain?" His tone was intimate and natural, as if you were the real man of this house. And me? I felt like an uninvited intruder, trespassing into someone else's territory. Awkward and pathetic. Bai Ningbing gripped the doorknob tightly, impatience slipping into her voice. He's nobody important. I stumbled one step back. Pain churned violently in my chest, almost swallowing me whole. Using every bit of strength I had, I forced out, "Sorry. I disturbed you." Bai Ningbing's beautiful brows twitched almost imperceptibly. I left Bai Ningbing's house. The rain grew even heavier. In my ears, I could still hear her old voice, gentle and clear. "Mingyue, don't wait for me to log in tonight. We're filming a rain scene. The lead keeps messing up, so we'll probably shoot until midnight. Mingyue, I got 2 extra lines in this drama. Pretty amazing, right? Mingyue, you don't need to see it in theaters anymore. My scenes were cut." I still remembered how hard she worked back then. Now, she had finally escaped those bitter days and become someone everyone envied. I should have been happy for her. So why? Did my heart feel like a blunt knife kept sawing through it, hurting so badly I couldn't breathe? Maybe. I was simply a terribly selfish person. It felt like every ounce of strength had left my body. I was utterly exhausted, without even enough energy to take another step. A car slowly approached from nearby. Its glaring headlights shone straight at me, as if drawn by that light. I unconsciously walked toward the middle of the road. Just then, a hand suddenly grabbed my arm. With no strength left, I fell hard to the ground from a pole. Lu Qian's furious voice exploded beside me. "Fang Yuan, what the hell are you doing?" I looked up at her blankly, like a child who'd done something wrong. Repeating mechanically, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Lu Qian's expression froze. She let out a heavy sigh, helped me up from the mud, and shoved me into the car. Looking at my miserable state, she scolded me. "Why would you come to Best Actress Bai's house by yourself? Do you have any idea how many eyes are watching her and watching you?" Thinking of Bai Ningbing's cold, striking face, my hand clenched unconsciously. When I remained silent for a long time, Lu Qian sighed again. Her tone was helpless. "What you did was far too risky." I lowered my head, my voice painfully hoarse. "Lu Qian, it won't happen again." Lu Qian drove me back to my apartment. Before leaving, she pulled a script from her bag and handed it to me. "Stop thinking about all that for now. This is a new movie the company got you. You're playing the 3rd male lead. Filming starts in a week. Use these next few days to prepare." I took the script numbly. Lu Qian added cautiously, "The female lead in this movie is Bai Ningbing." I froze on the spot. It felt as if all the blood in my body had stopped. Lu Qian frowned and comforted me. "You don't have many scenes together. Avoid her whenever you can." After Lu Qian left, I was alone in the huge room. That suffocating sense of despair came crashing over me again. With trembling hands, I opened a drawer and finally saw the small bottle labeled amitriptyline. I hurriedly poured out some pills, shoved them into my mouth, not even bothering with water. 5 years ago, I developed depression. It went from moderate to severe, relapsing again and again, never fully improving. No one knew about it. Not even Lu Qian, who was with me every day. It was the secret I buried deepest in my heart. A week later, I arrived on set on time. I just sat down in the makeup room when a commotion sounded outside. Bai Ningbing wore simple casual clothes and a baseball cap. Low-key, yet still impossible to overlook. When she entered the makeup room, her gaze casually swept in my direction. She even gave a slight nod. I froze. The male lead, Song Jinyin, immediately stepped past me and greeted her with a smile. "You're here." Bai Ningbing's gaze passed right over me, not lingering even a second. I lowered my eyes. A bitter taste spread across my tongue. She clearly hated me to the core, yet I'd foolishly assumed she had been looking at me. Just then, a staff member suddenly barged in excitedly and shouted, "Hey, did you guys see the top trending topic? This is wild." Fang Yuan rejected at her door in the rain. The once noisy makeup room fell instantly silent. Realizing something was wrong, the staffer looked around until his eyes landed on me. His voice cut off. His face turned awkward. "Mr. Fang." I tried to force a smile to ease the humiliating moment. But the instant my lips moved, the surrounding looks only grew stranger. Then, my assistant rushed in and shoved a phone into my hand. She said anxiously, "Brother Yuan, look at this." I took the phone. A photo filled the screen. In it, I was soaked through, standing miserably outside Bai Ningbing's home, looking utterly pathetic. The photographer had clearly framed it on purpose. Bai Ningbing wasn't even in the shot. Only the glaring words "Bai Ningbing's home" were added beside it. That day, I'd acted purely on impulse. I'd never meant to cause Bai Ningbing any trouble. I tightened my grip on the phone and hurried after her. Wanted to explain everything. "Miss Bai." Bai Ningbing's cool voice came first, cutting me off. Her tone was distant and impatient. "I just want to act in peace. I don't want to be used in your publicity stunts. Mr. Fang, please know your boundaries." With that, she turned and entered her private lounge across the hall, slamming the door shut. The staff who had already been whispering about me now spoke even louder. Every mocking word stabbed in my ears like a needle. How can Fang Yuan be so shameless? Teacher Bai already made herself crystal clear. He still dared to go to her home and harass her. He's no different from a creepy stalker fan. Maybe he paid that paparazzo himself. I stood frozen, as if nailed to a pillar of shame, cold all over. Suddenly, a crisp female voice broke this suffocating atmosphere. Life in showbiz really is exciting. There's fresh drama every single day. I turned toward the voice. Shen Yue wore a faint, knowing smile, and slowly walked in. Shen Yue played the second female lead in this film. She was also the second daughter of Jingshi Group. Her family was immensely powerful, so she had always done as she pleased in the industry. She walked straight up to me and looked me over. She raised a brow slightly, mocking me. "At least you got a decent face. What a shame. Your publicity stunt is painfully clumsy." Everyone had decided. The whole mess was a stunt I'd staged myself. My hands started trembling uncontrollably. I didn't even notice when my phone began ringing. Only when Shen Yue reminded me with a faint smirk, "Your phone's ringing. Aren't you going to answer?" Did I finally snap back to reality? I answered almost desperately and fled that humiliating place. On the other end, Lu Qian sounded deeply exhausted. "Hey Yuan, I already got you leave from the set. Come back to the company first." I lowered my eyes and answered hoarsely, "Okay." Downstairs at the company, a huge crowd of Bai Ningbing's fans had gathered. The furious fans held megaphones and shouted themselves hoarse. Through the car window, I watched their angry faces. A pain I couldn't suppress rose inside me, even though I had tried so hard to get closer to her. In the company meeting room, President Zhang sat with a taut expression, his face dark with anger. He pointed straight at me and snapped, "Fang Yuan, your stupidity is truly unbelievable." I stood there with my head lowered as he hurled a stack of documents at me. He roared furiously, "Look at this yourself. Do you know how many partners want to terminate their contracts with you?" Lu Qian was sweating with anxiety beside us and quickly tried to calm him. "President Zhang, please calm down. Yuan didn't mean for this to happen." President Zhang slammed the table, even angrier. "He didn't mean it? Then why the hell did he go crazy and harass Bai Ningbing? Fang Yuan, you made this mess. You clean it up. Go find Bai Ningbing right now and beg her to issue a statement to suppress this." Bai Ningbing's cold face appeared clearly in my mind again. My fingertips instantly went cold. It felt like something blocked my throat. I couldn't say a word. After a long while, I finally forced myself to speak. "President Zhang, I'm sorry. I can't." President Zhang's eyes widened. He was furious. "You can't? The penalties add up to over 10 million. Can you afford that? Don't forget how much debt the company paid off for you back then." My whole body jolted. I clenched my teeth until I tasted blood. I lowered my head, my voice bitter. "Give me a little more time. I'll find a way." I returned to my apartment in a daze. The moment I reached the door, I recoiled at what I saw. Across the apartment door, someone had scrawled in red paint the words "Pay your debt," crooked and glaring. While I stood there stunned, a rough hand suddenly landed on my shoulder. A vicious-looking man's voice sounded behind me, full of menace. "Our big star is finally home. Your address wasn't easy to find. I turned around stiffly. Several menacing men surrounded me at once. The leader looked me up and down, his gaze cold as a snake. He pulled a photo from his pocket and slapped it against my face. The photo was taken on a bright sunny day. My mother sat on a bench at her care home, smiling gently. The man leaned close to my ear and threatened viciously, "Fang Yuan, pay back what you owe us. Otherwise, I don't mind sending your mom down to join that short-lived dead father of yours." All the blood in my body seemed to freeze in that instant. Only after the men left, cursing as they went, did I slowly crouch down, pick up the photo with shaking hands, lean against the cold wall, and sink to the floor. At that moment, a fierce resentment suddenly rose inside me. I hated the scammers who tricked my father into investing and destroyed everything our family had. I hated my father. Why did he choose to take his own life and leave such a huge mess for me to bear alone? Most of all, I hated myself. I'd lived such a pathetic, failed life that I couldn't even protect the person closest to me. When I came back to my senses, I was already back on set. I took a deep breath and knocked on Bai Ningbing's dressing room door. Bai Ningbing looked up and saw me. Between her beautiful brows, impatience immediately appeared. I lowered my head, making myself as humble as possible. My voice was careful and apologetic. "I'm sorry, Teacher Bai. I was too reckless before. I shouldn't have disturbed you." I paused, gathered my courage, and begged hoarsely, "Could I trouble you to clarify what happened that day? I promise, after you cleared up, I'll never appear in front of you again." Before I could finish, Bai Ningbing cut me off coldly. Her tone was indifferent, leaving no room for negotiation. "I never respond to this kind of pointless news." Bai Ningbing glanced at me with a faint sneer, the mockery in her eyes almost overflowing. "Besides, you already have plenty of stories like this. One more won't make any difference." Those words were like a poison blade, driving straight through my heart. The pain made my insides spasm. I gave a bitter laugh. A metallic taste rose in my throat. I wanted so badly to tell her that I was exhausted. Bai Ningbing, I couldn't hold on much longer. I slowly closed my eyes. When I opened them again, only despair remained. I clenched my teeth and bent my knees heavily. With a thud, both knees struck the cold floor, making a dull sound. I looked up at Bai Ningbing's stunning yet cold face. My voice was so hoarse it was barely audible, each word raw with pain. "Bai Ningbing, I'm begging you. Please show me mercy. Help me." Bai Ningbing's pupils contracted sharply at that instant. She froze in place, but only for a moment. She quickly recovered, her voice freezing cold. Each were like a knife. "Fang Yuan, I never imagined you could sink this low. You have no bottom line." Anger churned openly in Bai Ningbing's eyes. As soon as she finished, she shot to her feet, yanked open the door, and snapped, "Get out. Don't dirty my room." I endured the needle-like pain in my chest and staggered to my feet, walking out of the dressing room in humiliation. Lu Qian was already waiting outside. When she saw me, she hurried over and asked anxiously, "Hey Yuan, how'd it go? Did Bai Ningbing agree to clarify things?" I weakly shook my head. Lu Qian's expression instantly dimmed. She sighed in disappointment. "Bai Ningbing has always been proud and aloof. I should have known this wouldn't work. It's just President Zhang." At that, her voice trailed off. Then her gaze grew, determined. "There's always another way. I'll go back and work on a PR statement and see if we can salvage this." "Hey Yuan, do you want me to drive you home?" My throat was hoarse, my voice painfully dry. "Don't worry about me, Lu Qian. I can manage on my own." After seeing Lu Qian off, I walked out of the set alone, like a homeless wandering ghost. I drifted aimlessly along the riverside road. I climbed over the roadside guardrail, letting the biting river wind carry damp air and lash against my face. If only that wind could sweep me away too, erasing me completely from this world. How nice that would be. Just then, a rapid vibration came from my pocket. I pulled out my phone. Bai Ningbing's photo flashed on the screen. In the photo, she was drenched in sweat. Loose strands of hair at her forehead were damp, sticking to her smooth skin. Yet her smile shone like the blazing summer sun. Above the photo, a familiar line of text kept flashing. Pulsing. Work hard today, too. Meng Mingyue. Bai Ningbing had taken that photo years ago, when she was still playing bit parts on set, and sent it to me. I had set it as a timed reminder. Every night at midnight, it would pop up right on time. Only by seeing that smiling face could I find the courage to drag my exhausted body into another new day. Years ago, Bai Ningbing fought desperately for tiny supporting roles that didn't even have a single line. But now, she was a top best actress adored by everyone, standing high above, far beyond my reach. In just a few short years, everything had changed completely. Nothing was the same anymore. I was staring blankly at the photo when the thunderous roar of a sports car came from behind. I instinctively turned my head. An expensive, gleaming sports car was racing toward me at full speed. Its glaring headlights shone straight at me. I hurriedly raised a hand to shield my eyes. My palm slipped, and the phone flew out of my hand, falling straight into the rushing river. Damn! My heart tightened. Without thinking, I started climbing over the guardrail to jump in and retrieve it. But just as I leaned out, a pair of strong arms suddenly grabbed me and yanked me back from the railing. I hit the ground hard. It felt like every bone in my body had come apart. Before I could recover, a cool female voice drifted into my ears, full of teasing. A male celebrity jumping into the river in public? Now I've really seen everything today. Suppressing the pain, I slowly looked up. Only then did I see the person standing over me. It was Fang Yuan. She looked down, a half smile at the corner of her lips. Her tone was teasing. Once we're offset, you can't even be bothered to call me Teacher Shin? I didn't answer. I just turned my head and stared blankly at the river surging east. I really had lost my mind just now. For a single phone, I'd almost risked my life jumping in. Seeing me ignore her, Fang Yuan's voice darkened, clearly displeased. I'm talking to you. Only then did the stinging pain from my scraped palm finally spread through me. I forced myself to stand and gave her a small nod. I thanked her hoarsely. Thank you, Teacher Shin. I wasn't trying to kill myself. My phone just fell into the river. With that, I turned to leave. Without my phone, it looked like I'd have to walk back to my apartment. But as soon as I took a step, someone grabbed my wrist. Before I could react, Fang Yuan half-dragged, half-pulled me into the passenger seat of her sports car. I'll be generous today. Might as well see this good deed through. I'll give you a ride for free. I was about to refuse, but then I thought, if I walked all the way home like this, and the paparazzi caught me, who knew how many ugly stories would flood the internet tomorrow? At that thought, I tiredly gave her my apartment address. Fang Yuan heard it and slammed the accelerator. The sports car shot forward, like an arrow released from a bow. Maybe because I hadn't eaten in so long. A burning cramp suddenly twisted through my stomach. I doubled over in pain, clutching my churning abdomen. Fang Yuan noticed something was wrong. She glanced sideways at me, raising a brow. Her tone was teasing. What? Can't handle this speed? I stared out at the dark night, my voice faint as smoke. Back then, I had a sports car like this too. I paused, then added, whenever I was in a bad mood, I used to drive it through the mountain roads at night. That seemed to catch Fang Yuan's interest. She asked, and then a bitter smile tugged at my lips. My voice was barely audible. Then, there was no then. After my father took his own life, the mess he left behind crushed me until I could barely breathe. That night, I drove my sports car up the mountain road and truly thought about ending my life, just as I hardened my heart and prepared to floor it off the cliff. An excited radio host suddenly came through the speakers. Rising Star Bai Ningbing's movie has reversed its box office decline and is exploding online. That one sentence dragged me back from the brink. The next day, I sold the sports car. With that money, I took my confused, ill mother and left the country. Before I knew it, the sports car had stopped steadily below my apartment. I came back to myself, and thanks Fang Yuan, I had just opened the door. When she grabbed my wrist again, Fang Yuan raised a brow at me, her tone carrying an adult hint of flirtation. That's all the thanks I get. Won't you invite me up for coffee? I pretended not to understand the implication and forced a polite smile. It's too late. Teacher Shun. Tomorrow on set. I'll buy you coffee to make it up to you. I opened the door and got out. I looked up and unexpectedly met a familiar gaze. From the building entrance, not far away. It was Bai Ningbing. My whole body stiffened. As if struck by a freezing spell, I stood rooted to the spot. Seeing that I wasn't moving, Fang Yuan got out too. She followed my gaze and saw Bai Ningbing. She gave a soft laugh. Amused. This is getting more interesting. At the same time, Bai Ningbing had already started walking toward us. She stopped in front of me. Her steps halted. Her beautiful eyes were filled with icy mockery. Every word cut deep. Fang Yuan, I really underestimated you. That fast. And you've already found yourself a new sugar mommy. I had been full of questions, wanting to ask why she was downstairs at my home. But now, that mocking remark blocked every word in my throat. I couldn't say a thing. I instinctively reached out to tug at her sleeve, but she flung my hand away in disgust. Stay away from me. You disgust me. I froze in place. It felt as though all my blood had turned to ice. Just then, someone suddenly hugged me from behind. Immediately after, a kishkering of faint perfume scent landed lightly on my cheek. My whole body jolted in shock. I was about to push the person away, but Fang Yuan stepped back first, a provocative smile on her lips. I was completely stunned, standing there in a daze, staring straight at Bai Ningbing. Complicated emotions churned in her eyes. They were dark, like a bottomless frozen pool, impossible to read. Fang Yuan's smiling voice sounded beside me, clearly reaching both of us. Bai Ningbing, that's a pretty ugly thing to say. We're both single. How does dating make him a gold digger? After a long silence, Bai Ningbing slowly curved her lips into the faintest smile, but her eyes stayed fixed on me, word by word. She carved in my heart. Then I wish you too. A love stronger than gold, and may you never part. Just one short sentence. Felt like a sharp dagger, tearing my heart cleanly in two. After saying that, she lifted a hand to lower her cap. Without the slightest hesitation, she turned and walked away. Her resolute figure soon vanished into the night. I watched helplessly as she went farther and farther. The hand hidden inside my sleeve was already clenched until the knuckles went white, trembling faintly. I had no right, and no place, to call her back. Only after Bai Ningbing disappeared completely did I slowly suppress the pain surging in my chest and turn to Fang Yuan. My voice was almost numb. Was that fun, Miss Shun? Fang Yuan raised an eyebrow, seemingly surprised by my reaction. My throat was hoarse, my voice carrying a tired plea. You've had enough fun. Please go home, Miss Shun. I'm just a nobody. I can't afford to play rich people's games. The smile on Fang Yuan's face faded a little. She looked almost naively puzzled. You're really stubborn. Wouldn't sticking with me be better than following Bai Ningbing? The resources I can give you are far more than she ever could. I gave a self-mocking smile. People born with silver spoons like them could never understand that some things couldn't be traded for any amount of resources. We walk different paths. There's no point working together. As expected, Fang Yuan's face instantly darkened. She coldly threw out one line. You don't know what's good for you. Then she turned, got in her sports car, and sped away. Early the next morning, I had just gotten out at the set when reporters waiting at the entrance surrounded me. Blinding camera flashes fired non-stop. Sharp questions crashed over me like a wave. Fang Yuan, yesterday, photos of you kissing Fang Yuan were taken. What's your relationship? Did you fail to get Bai Ningbing, so you turned around and latched onto Fang Yuan instead? Someone also revealed that a rich older woman kept you in high school. You wore designer brands and rode in sports cars even then. Is that true? Every question was cutting. Some people even shoved me. I was trapped in a crowd, unable to keep my footing. Just then, the familiar roar of a sports car sounded. Fang Yuan's car raced over. Seeing the main subject arrive, the reporters immediately changed targets and swarmed toward her. Fang Yuan removed her sunglasses, glanced at me, parted her red lips, and dropped a bombshell. He and I were lovers for 1 minute, that's all. With that, she pushed through the crowd, and walked away coolly. The reporters instantly erupted. Their looks toward me grew even more contemptuous. I stood amid the crowd, like a complete joke, letting all those mocking eyes fall on me. Security rushed over and finally pulled me out from the reporters. I looked up. Bai Ningbing was sitting beside the director, watching everything with an indifferent gaze, as if the farce before her had nothing at all to do with her. Between us seemed to stretch an unreachable galaxy. She stood on the far side, radiant and dazzling, while I stood here, infamous, covered in mud. After finally escaping the reporters, I walked miserably to the director. I just opened my mouth to apologize. When he raised a hand first, his tone was distant. "Hey, Yuan, I've thought it over. You may not be right for this role. Our production wants to focus on making a good film. We don't need an actor surrounded by this much controversy." My hand at my side clenched hard. My nails dug deep into my palm. The pain cleared my head a little. I lifted my gaze and looked straight at Bai Ningbing. I asked hoarsely, "Is this the director's decision or yours?" Bai Ningbing lowered her eyes. Her fingertips casually flipped through the script, as if I didn't exist at all. I opened my mouth, wanted to say something else, but my throat was painfully dry, as though scraped raw by sandpaper. An invisible force seemed to grip my throat, leaving me unable to say a word. After a moment, I took a deep breath and bowed deeply to the director. My voice was calm and flat. "I understand. I'm sorry, Director. I caused trouble for the production." Seeing me accept it so readily, the director finally looked somewhat satisfied. I turned again and stopped a few steps from Bai Ningbing. Looking at her cool, beautiful profile, I said word by word, "Teacher Bai, I wish you a brilliant career ahead and every success." Bai Ningbing finally looked up at me. She stared at me heavily for a long time, then suddenly asked out of nowhere, "Have you ever regretted it?" I froze. For a moment, I didn't know how to answer. What did I regret? Lying that I was terminally ill, so I wouldn't burden her. Then disappearing like a coward? Or returning home at all costs, just to get close to her again, and stepping into this ruthless entertainment industry? After a long while, I finally heard my own voice ring out clearly and firmly. "Never." I saw it clearly. The tiny trace of warmth left in Bai Ningbing's eyes slowly froze over, cold enough to freeze a person solid. She looked at me, her voice icy, final and absolute. "I never want to see you again." Just then, my assistant hurried over, looking panicked. "Brother Yuan, the company called you several times, but couldn't get through. They want you back immediately." Only then did I remember. My phone had fallen into the river yesterday, and I hadn't replaced the SIM card on my new phone yet. I looked back at Bai Ningbing. Her eyes had already returned to the script. She never looked at me again. I forced a faint smile and said softly, "Bai Ningbing, I don't regret it." With that, I turned around and left the set without looking back. Back at the company, I'd already braced myself for another furious scolding from President Zhang, but he only narrowed his eyes and gave me a mocking half-smile. A bad feeling rose in my chest. Before I could speak, he grabbed a script and slammed it onto the desk in front of me. "The company got you this film. Director lead his new movie." My heart clenched. Everyone in the industry knew director lead his name. He specialized in vulgar films dressed up as serious contenders for international awards. To put it plainly, they were cheap exploitation movies. My face darkened. I refused coldly. "President Zhang, I'm not doing this film." President Zhang looked like he'd heard a hilarious joke. Mockery filled his face. "Fang Yuan, you think you're still in a position to bargain with me? This film, you're doing it whether you like it or not." Just then, the office door opened. Lu Qian walked in. The look she gave me held unmistakable sympathy. She came to my side and said quietly, "The care home couldn't reach you. Your mother saw the news online. She became agitated and had a heart attack. You need to get to the hospital now. Maybe you could still see her one last time." Those 4 words, "one last time," hit me like a bolt from a clear sky, smashing into my head until I was dizzy and could barely stand. I forced a smile, my voice shaking uncontrollably. "Lu Qian, you're joking with me, right?" My mother's always been mentally confused. How could she have seen the news? Lu Qin shook her head, her voice heavy. Go now. Any later, and you may not even get to see her one last time. I ran out of the office like a madman. Behind me came President Zhang's cold, cruel voice. So what if his mother dies? 1 week from now. Even if I have to drag him there, I'll get him onto that set. When I reached the hospital, my mother had already been taken into the ICU, just days ago. The woman smiling gently in that photo was now lying silently in a hospital bed, tubes covering her body, her face pale as paper. I stood blankly outside the ICU, cold all over, trembling uncontrollably. A doctor walked over to me and patted my shoulder. He said gravely, "You're the patient's family, right? Go in and see her. The old lady seems to have one last wish. She's holding on to her final breath." Those words were like a sharp knife, stabbing straight into my heart. My eyes burned, and hot tears spilled out uncontrollably, as if all the hurt and pain I'd buried for years were pouring out at once. I dragged my lead-heavy feet slowly into the ICU. I crouched beside the bed and carefully held my mother's thin, withered hand. My voice choked. "Mom, it's Bai Yuan. Can you hear me?" Mother slowly opened her eyes. In her cloudy gaze, a trace of clarity appeared. A cloudy tear slid from the corner of her eye. She raised a hand and touched my face with trembling fingers. Her voice was weak but gentle. "Bai Yuan, don't cry." I couldn't remember how long it had been since I'd seen my mother lucid. That long-lost tenderness made my tears fall even harder. I hurriedly raised my sleeve and wiped my face messily, forcing out a smile. "I'm not crying. Mom, you have to get better. I'm making a lot of money now. I'll pay off all the debt soon. Dad is gone, but I can still give you a good life." Mother didn't answer. Her eyes were filled with deep guilt. She whispered, "You've gotten thin. These past few years, have they been hard?" I held her hand and shook my head desperately. My voice choked. "Mom, it hasn't been hard. Not hard at all." Mother smiled gently at me. There was relief in her smile. "It was me who burdened you. From now on, go live your own life." I watched my mother, watched the light in her eyes slowly fade as she closed them with lingering affection. I screamed, "Mom," until my voice broke. A piercing alarm instantly filled the room. The line on the heart monitor became a cold, flat line. Mother's hand slipped heavily from my palm. The string I kept stretched tight inside me finally snapped. The heart-rending pain in my chest could no longer be contained. I couldn't hold myself up anymore. I dropped heavily to my knees beside the bed and sobbed uncontrollably. On the day of my mother's funeral, only a handful of people came. Lu Qin stopped by. She laid down a bouquet and looked at me, her tone both helpless and warning. "Bai Yuan, if you insist on refusing that film, the company will take you to court and demand an enormous contract penalty." She paused, then advised me, "Your mother is gone, but those of us still alive have to keep moving forward. It's only one movie. As long as you're alive, you'll get another chance someday." The glaring sunlight made it hard to open my eyes. I raised a hand to block it. My voice was frighteningly calm. "I understand, Sister Qian." Lu Qin breathed a sigh of relief. "All right, I'll pick you up tomorrow and take you to the company." After she left, I remained kneeling before my mother's grave. I reached out and gently wiped her photo on the headstone. In the picture, she was still smiling gently, but from now on, I was the only one left in this world. As I left the cemetery, I happened to notice a black business van parked across the road. Its model looked like the one Bai Ningbing usually used. I laughed at myself. How ridiculous. After everything had come to this, I was still foolish enough to hope she might come see me. Bai Ningbing had already said it. She never wanted to see me again. Back in my empty apartment, I pulled out a suitcase I hadn't used in years and packed my few belongings inside. Once everything was packed, I sat on the sofa and opened Weibo. My comments section was flooded with abuse every single day. The engagement was even higher than many A-list stars. I took a deep breath and tapped the live stream button. Instantly, countless viewers poured into the stream. The screen filled densely with hateful comments, almost drowning everything out. I ignored the ugly words, looked into the camera, and gave a small wave. My voice was calm. Hello, everyone. I'm Fang Yuan. I'm live streaming today because I want to tell you a story about Meng Mingyue. As soon as I finished speaking, the viewer count in the top right corner shot upward like a rocket, surpassing 1 million in an instant.